we could have another $1 billion in debt out there in the next few years. And so we have to be smart. And one of the things we have to do is we have to look at, we have to see the difference between a want and a need.
Hey, fellow patriots, this is Kelly Jackson with the Tennessee Conservative News, your biggest and most wonderful conservative news alternative in Middle Tennessee. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing the District 10 County Commission in Williamson County candidate for the open seat, Bill Petty. Thank you so much, Bill, for joining me today. How are you?
Fine. I'm happy to be here. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Good, good. So let's just dig right in.
Okay.
We know some about you, through your website, votebillpetty.com. But what else should our viewers know about you that you feel is important to understand that makes you the best candidate for this county commissioner seat?
Okay. Well, I think that I'm a good problem solver. I've had experience. I taught school. I teach guitars for vets now. So I have to help people, coach people and figure out what people are thinking, where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, work with them and figure out a good path for them. As owning my own construction company, I had to run jobs and I just solved problems all day long because, we'd get a site that just we didn't have enough information on it or the blueprints weren't correct or whatever. There's a lot of things about that.
Yeah.
I was always having to try to solve problems. And I think I'm pretty good at that. And one of the reasons why I'm good at it is because I listen to people that know more than I do. And I think that's a real strong trait for me. I don't think I have the answer for everything, but I'm pretty good judge when somebody gives me good information, and I like to balance things.
Okay.
Which goes into, I think I'm a good collaborator. To give you an example, when I lived in Chicago, I was the president of a block club, and I had to deal with a alderman that was very progressive, but we got along and we got some things done for our community. We found places where we could come together and we could agree and we worked together on things. And, I was able to compartmentalize, not to focus on, the things we don't disagree on, but focus on things we do agree on. I think I'm a good communicator. One of the things I do, you may or may not know that every Friday night, I publish a thing called Friday Recap. And what I do is I report on what's going on with the county commission, election commission, board in BOMA. And I go to a lot of the meetings. And if I don't, I watch them on video. And so I report. And when I give people the agendas, I give them the videos and, so they can make their own decisions. And so to keep people informed, because what I've found is people are so busy that they don't have time. If you can put it in one place and it's really just, all they have to do is click on something and take a look, I think it's a lot easier for people. So I think I do a good job of that. Okay. So I think those are my strengths.
Okay. Great. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. We need a lot of those things to make some progress when you're working with large groups of people. Yeah. As you know, we'll just hop right into one of the biggest issues. I get emails pretty much, I would say, weekly regarding this issue as a Williamson County resident. But as you know, there is a huge proposal being put before the County Commission for the new criminal justice complex. Folks in the county are concerned that it will cause a property tax increase. And as you probably know, they already increased taxes back in 2021 because they said they needed to build a new jail, and then that never happened. So Greg Lawrence, the D4 county commissioner, has submitted a proposal that will cost the county, I think, $125 million versus the proposed $325 million that Mayor Anderson has determined that is needed. If changes are made for the location and the specs for the project, it could lower the cost. In your bio, it includes building contractor. So I imagine you have some experience there. What will your position be with regard to this project, and how will you go about ensuring the county's taxpayer dollars are being utilized in the most efficient way possible?
Well, uh, I've looked at the proposal, so I understand what it is. Actually, it's the old Verizon call center. Uh,
Okay.
and it's a 180,000 square foot building.
Wow.
It's basically gutted right now. It's got 20-foot
Okay.
springs. It's got 17.7 acres. It's got 1,300 parking spaces. It's a big building, and it's built. uh, All the infrastructure is there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, gas, they have water, they have electric. And if they wanted to add on, because the plan now is they want something like 335,000 square feet for both the jail and the juvenile, facility together.
Right.
Well, if they wanted to, they could add on another 150,000 square feet to this site,
Okay.
and they don't have a grade or anything like that because they've already got a flat surface. They've, everything's been done. All the prep work's been done.
Yeah.
So if we can buy that building for somewhere around $36 million.
Wow.
And if we, and
Wow.
so that's about $200 a square foot. If we add another $100 per square foot, takes up to about 54 million. And then, there's a lot of other things that have to happen. You got to build, you got to get cells in there and things. So the 125 million is certainly doable. And
Okay.
it gives us some buffer room to work with. So I think it's a very good proposal. I don't know why we wouldn't look at it.
Well, you're probably going to get some resistance from those who have been on the county commission for decades and decades and tend to be a bit of a rubber stamp for Mayor Anderson. So I hope you're ready for the fight.
Well, as I said, you can only work with what you have to work with.
Yeah.
And I really, I strive again to find commonalities with people and start from there and work out. Because if you can say on something, okay, we agree, this is good, we're going to do this. You say, well, how about this one?
Yeah.
We agreed on this one. Maybe we can move, so you can start moving people. I'm
Yeah.
not going to go in there and change everything overnight, but I can certainly start going in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah. So based on your website and the things that it expresses about who you are and what your character is, your campaign puts a strong emphasis on integrity.
Yeah.
How do you propose to manifest that characteristic in a position where it seems so many on the county commission, save for a very few, just want to rubber stamp whatever it is that the mayor wants?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And what I plan on doing, a couple things. Number one is I'm already doing my Friday night recap. I'm used to doing that. It's not a problem. So what I would do for everybody in my district that's interested, I would send out a weekly or maybe bi-weekly. It's going to happen often.
Okay.
Let them know what's going on. Here's the situation. Here's what we looked at. For all those numbers I just gave you about the jail, those are numbers I was given by somebody else I have confidence in. But we have to look at those things to make sure those numbers are accurate and
Right.
they're real. But we have to look at them together. And as I look at those numbers and I find things, information, I'm going to share it. I'm going
Yeah.
to let people know. I'm going to have I love this whole open door policy. Everybody
Mhm.
says, really, I
Yeah.
want to hear from my constituents. And because there's a
Oh,
lot
you
of
will.
there's a lot, there's architects, there's engineers, there's
Mhm.
CPAs, there's all kinds of people in Williamson County that have great expertise, can look at things
Yeah.
even better than I could and
Yeah.
say, well, here's something you missed. Oh, thank you. So that's how I plan on operating.
Okay. Great.
Yep.
So, finally, I guess a final question would be, is there anything else that our viewers should know about you before they make their way to the convention? Those that live in D10, make their way to the convention and choose between you and the other candidate.
Yeah, well, uh, uh, I have some basic principles that I'll share with you that I think that how we should, how things should be done. Number one is I think we need to be ethical. We always need to be ethical, and sometimes you can be non ethical and
Mhm.
still legal.
Yeah.
I think ethical is important.
Yeah.
I think knowledge is very important. I am going to do my homework, like on the jail.
Yeah,
I'm going to verify all those. This is numbers that can be verified in discussions that we can have in committee and at commission meetings.
yeah,
And those are kinds of, we should have those discussions,
yeah,
and they should be open and people should be able to hear them. I think fiscal restraint is really important. We have a debt right now of $1.2 billion that
mhm,
has, I mean, it's doubled in the last 2 or 3 years.
yeah,
And we have more expenses coming up. If we have a $325 million jail,
yeah,
that's going to go into debt. Plus, there's talk about building more schools.
yeah,
So we could have another $1 billion in debt out there in the next few years. And so we have to be smart. And one of the things we have to do is we have to look at, we have to see the difference between a want and a need. And we
mhm,
have to make sure that we cover the needs, but I want a new car. Okay, I want to get a Mercedes. Nah, I can afford.
yeah,
I can't afford a Mercedes. I mean, we have to look at things that way, and I think that's very, very important. I think I'm just absolutely, you know, think that people's freedom to speak, freedom to choose is essential to our lifestyle here in this country. We are a representative government. And by that means that but I represent the people. I'm not the boss. The people are the boss.
yeah,
And I think sometimes what happens is that people get in positions of authority and all of a sudden they think they're the boss.
yeah,
And and there's times when I may make a decision that some people won't like. Well, I'm going to explain it, and I'm still going to get their feedback. But
yeah.
I'm going to have to. There's never going to be a situation where everybody I talk to agrees with me completely. That's not going to happen.
That's true. That's true.
So that's part of it too, and I understand that. But by and large, if we only have 14% of the population is for this jail, that tells us something, and we
Yeah,
should pay attention to it.
yeah, I agree.
So that's important to me. Uh, I just think we need to sharpen our pencils. I think that we have to prioritize, and I
Mhm,
think very careful about what we prioritize. And the last thing I want to do is raise taxes. That's not
yeah,
something I would want to do at all. And I
yeah,
want to find a way to pay for things. We have infrastructure issues right now. We have some people call it uncontrolled growth. We
yeah,
do have a lot of growth, and so what's what's the lifestyle in Williamson County going to be like in 2 years, in
yeah,
5 years, in 10 years? We've grown tremendously. In 2012, I think we were 180,000. Now we're at 260,000 people.
yeah, yeah,
Well, it's the old thing uh, that geometric progression. If you have a pond and you start out with one lily pad and it
yeah,
doubles every day, well, when you get half the pond full, guess what? The next day, the whole pond is full.
yeah,
And that's the thing that happens. That we have to be looking at that, be thinking about those things and say, okay, what can we do now? We got to look down the road.
yes,
How many plots can we afford to have? What's going to happen to the roads? And
yeah,
I think these are all things that we need to be looking at and being taken consider of.
yeah,
So
yep,
kind of how I look at it.
yep. That sounds great. Well, thank you so much, Bill, and we wish you all the best. And we will be following this race. We've been writing articles on it, and
Yeah,
we see it as very, very important to Williamson County. I know as a Williamson County resident, I see it as very important, even though I don't live in D10. All the commissioners have a vote, so all of their votes affect me. So
exactly.
we all have a stake in this. So
Yeah,
thank
I
you so
agree.
much for stepping up, and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. You have a good afternoon.
You too.